Today I'm going to be replacing the front axles on a 2004 Volvo S80. The problem I've been having with this is at highway speeds and different accelerating uphills, I'm getting a shake out of the front of the car. It feels like something is off balance. And if you're driving along and the road dips down so the wheels come up a little bit, you can feel it shake more, which tells me that the axles at the CV joints, they're worn out, and so they're shaking. I had the CV joints inspected by a tire company or tire shop, and they said they were fine, but they just looked at the boots, and the boots aren't torn. I've gone in underneath the car and actually grabbed the axle and shook it, and I can hear it clunking. And that's on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and replace both of those today. First step is to put the front of the car up on jack stands, take the wheels off so I can get access to both sides and get the axles disconnected from the hub. This is my first time doing CV joints or axles on this kind of car. I've had in the past, when I remove the axle from the transmission, some transmission fluid comes out. I'm not sure if that's the case on this car or not, but I got a tarp down just in case. And when I pull it out, I'll pull it out slow. And if any fluid is coming out, I'll put a pan underneath it. But until then, we're just going to have the tarp down there. So I've got my car up on jack stands. It's not going anywhere. Wheels off. First thing I'm going to do is to remove this hub unit from the strut here. Now that was not torqued down at all. Definitely an issue. Alright, I have got to remove this ABS wire here. So I'm going to pull it from these clips. We're going to need to have slack for when I remove the hub. It should just come out fairly easily. I wonder if there's a better way. There we go. A little pinched up in here, but that's loose. And just in case, we'll remove it from this guy also. I think if I could figure out how to get it out. There we go. Alright, next we have to remove the upper and lower bolts here that connect the hub to the strut. This end of the bolt is a 19 millimeter. This end is a 21. So we'll go ahead and pull these out. I actually don't pull both bolts out. I just pull the top bolt out and loosen the bottom bolt. That way the hub is still supported while I'm working with the axle. Okay, so I've got this front wheel turned towards the left, and let's see what kind of play I can get here on this axle. See if I can get this to push out. There we go. All right. They should, I believe, just pull out of the transmission. All right, I'll give it a pull and see if we can get this to pop out. I believe it just pulls out. Oh, we will see. So I believe it's just a clip inside that's holding it. So I'm going to put a little pressure on it from the back with the screwdriver right in between here. Just give it a little twist. Let's see if we can get that to pop free. Doesn't want to come. We're going to give it a yank. Doesn't like that either. I'll try a pry bar. Shouldn't be too difficult. There we go. All right. And just pull it out the rest of the way. There we go. Okay, this is our old unit. The clip that should have been holding this in place is right there. And that's what it looks like on the driver's side. So we'll get a new one put in. So here's the old one. A lot of clunking going on in here. New one, not so much. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the new axle in, clip side first, just like the old one came out. Let's see if we can get that in there. Come on. There we go. Can't tell if it's in all the way or not. I'm gonna have to, yeah, it's not, it's got a clip. There it goes. Well, it turns out the transmission end of the axle was not in like I thought it was, so I had to figure out a way to get it pushed in all the way without damaging the axle. It's getting hung up on the little ring clip on the inside, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did to get that pushed in all the way. So unfortunately, when making the video, my camera wasn't on for this step. So what I've done is I've taken a picture of the part and indicated with an arrow where the pry bar is going to go. And what you want to do at this point, once you have your axle in the transmission, you can take a pry bar and pry between the spindle and the hub and put pressure on the axle and get that to go straight in, and then you should hear a solid click when that's in. Also, you can tell that the axle is in place if you look at it underneath. Initially, I had about a 1 inch space in between the axle and the transmission, and after I pushed on the spindle with the pry bar, I was able to get it in to where there's probably maybe 1/8 of an inch space. So that's in all the way. That's how it's supposed to be. Alright, so underneath here at the transmission, we have our axle entering the transmission right here, and it is as far in as it's going to go. There's very little space right here. Before, when I thought it was in, there was actually about 1 inch of space. I hadn't crawled underneath to check it. It just felt like it was in from the outside. But now I'm, by checking it out and with the pry bar pushing it in as far as it did, I'm sure that it is in actually all the way now, and we can go ahead and put this thing back together. So on this, you can see the brake line's pretty tight. Not too tight, but it's getting there. That's with the wheel turned pretty far, and this top bolt is out. So we're gonna see if we can get this in here without too much problem in this position. Just about got it. There we go. And that's in. Alright, so I'm going to put this top bolt back in. Alright. We'll tighten these down. Don't have the torque specs on these, but they're big bolts, so I'm gonna crank them down pretty tight. It's nice and tight. So this end on the axle has a little cap in it. We're going to go ahead and pull that out. Probably better with some needle nose, but I think I can get it with these. No, I don't want to push it in. Grab my needle nose. There we go. So from the research I've done, there's a lot of information about different torque specs on the bolt here for the axle. From everything I could find out, it looks like the most accurate information for the 04 S80 is 37 foot-pounds. So I've got my torque wrench here set to 37, and we'll go ahead and get this snugged up. We'll put this in the rotor here to hold it while we work. Yep. Double check. All right. Yep. 37. All right. One thing left to do before we put the wheel back on is we got to put our ABS cable back where it belongs in these clips. Get in there, you. A little snug. Don't want to damage it, but I do want it to get back in there. I gotta be careful with it. And there we go. And let's see, this guy goes in here. This one we can probably just pull through. Yeah, that one's easy. And then this little guy back in its clip, and we're done. We'll just clean up the rotor here. I got grease and stuff on it, and then we'll throw the tire back on. Okay, got the driver's side axle in. Time to move on to the passenger side. Okay, axle nut comes off first. Once again, this is a 14 millimeter. We're going to use our screwdriver here in the rotor so that we can turn this or loosen this without it turning. There we go. All right. And we are going to remove our ABS cable. There we go. And this one up here. Come on. Put it right here up against this brake line. There we go. And out of the clip if we can. There we go. Alright, now we got tons of play. Alright, so now we need to remove the upper and lower strut bolts. We've got a 18 millimeter socket on this side, and we will have a 21 on the other side. Let's loosen the bottom. Alright, so that's loose. Let me see what we can do with this before we take anything else apart. We got to push our axle through out of the hub. Let's give it a turn. Alright, and that's out. Okay, from underneath the vehicle, I've already removed the plastic cover here for another project. Oops, I got the wrong. So I found another spot in my recordings that didn't record, and this is going to be to remove the bracket on the axle for the passenger side. It's pretty easy to do. I put a picture in here with a couple of red arrows on it showing the bolts, and I don't remember the bolt size exactly, but yeah, it's pretty simple. You just pull the two bolts and then remove the outer part of the bracket. So we've got our bracket off and should be able to pull this axle out now. We'll go ahead and let's see if we can get any movement on it from underneath. Okay, so we gotta pull it straight out, and there it goes, just like that. Alright, we got the old axle out, time to put in the new axle. Alright, so underneath here we've got the axle into the transmission, and we've got our bearings in place. We'll just need to put the bracket on, one bolt here, and then we'll get the other end of the axle put into the hub. This in there. All right. And that's in place. All right, now that that's in place, we can mount this top bolt. Alright, I'll tighten up the bottom one. Not sure the torque on these, but they're pretty big bolts, so I'm going to put a lot of pressure on them. Alright, that should be good. Alright, we'll pull our little rubber or plastic cap out of here. Put our new bolt in. Alright, so with our new axle here, the bolt is a 13 millimeter. So we're going to get this just brought in so it's a little snug, and then use the torque to put it at 37 foot-pounds. And I need my screwdriver again. I need to put my screwdriver in the rotor again to hold that still while I tighten this up. It's not very tight, but that's the specs, 37. So we're good on that. Alright, so now I just have to put my ABS wire back in here. Actually, let's see if this works. The easiest way that I found to get these back in, instead of pushing in from the side, bring the skinny end through the hole and just pull it while you kind of rotate it, and it pops right in. Super easy. Kind of a fight to force it in the other way. Alright, and our last little clip here in the back, we'll get that put on. Alright, that's on. And that's it. Should be good. Go ahead and get this tire back on and take it back down off the jack stands. Okay, so I've got the tires back on, I've got the car off the jack stands, and we're ready to test it out and see if this fixed our problem. So the new axles did fix our problem. The car runs smooth now. Everything is good to go as far as the axles go. A couple more projects to do on it to make it better, but definitely fixed the shaking problem we were having driving down the road. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.